I've broken down these details in such a way that they'll leave you shocked, and trust me, you'll only understand the full theory if you stick with me until the very end. Because what I've pieced together about Avengers Doomsday doesn't just change how we think this movie will start, it changes how the entire multiverse saga might end. Marvel has been laying breadcrumbs across films, post-credit scenes, and leaks, and when I connected them, I realized this isn't the straightforward multiverse battle most fans expect. This is darker, more personal, and far more dangerous. Welcome back to MovieCast. I'm your host, Liam Harrison, and today I'm revealing what I believe is the full hidden blueprint of Avengers Doomsday. This isn't a theory built on random speculation. It's a puzzle where the pieces fit together, and once you see the picture, you won't unsee it. So let's dive in. When Thunderbolts wrapped up with its post-credit tease, Marvel slipped in a moment most people didn't fully process. A massive vessel breaches Earth's atmosphere, but it's not just any spacecraft, it's described as extradimensional. That single word changes everything because it implies this isn't simply alien technology, it's tech from a reality outside of our own. And if you know the comics, the Fantastic Four's story has always been intertwined with dimensions and universes beyond human comprehension. This is the MCU's way of planting the arrival of Marvel's first family directly into Earth 616. Fans cheered for the ship, but I noticed something else. The way it was framed wasn't about the team's arrival. It was about what was already lurking aboard. And the post-credit sequence doesn't waste time. The real reveal is Dr. Doom, moving in the shadows, but he's not just wearing a mask this time. He has Franklin Richards with him, Reed and Sue's son, and that single choice by Marvel tells us everything about where Doomsday is heading. Now here's the twist many people have missed. Doom isn't kidnapping Franklin out of revenge or jealousy. It's not about family rivalries. It's about power on a scale the Avengers haven't faced yet. Franklin Richards isn't just another superpowered child. He's possibly the most dangerous being in the multiverse. His abilities go beyond controlling matter or summoning cosmic energy. He can literally bend the fabric of existence, reshape time, and create universes from scratch. Think about that for a second. In a saga where timelines are already cracking apart, a child who can manufacture realities is either the solution or the apocalypse. Doom knows this, and he isn't waiting for Franklin to grow up or discover his potential naturally. He's already harnessing it. And here's where my mind really started racing. What if Doom has been using Franklin all along? That's why theories about Robert Downey Jr. secretly playing Doom actually make sense. Doom isn't wearing that mask to hide himself. He's wearing it to reveal what Franklin's powers can grant him. One of the earliest signs, his face. In the comics, Doom is scarred and obsessed with restoring his visage. Imagine in the MCU, Doom taps Franklin's reality-bending gift not just to heal, but to perfect himself, crafting an almost godlike presence. Suddenly, he's not a scarred man hiding behind iron. He's an ascendant ruler, powered by the reality-warping child of Reed Richards. This would give Marvel the perfect excuse to bring back Downey in a twisted, jaw-dropping way. Not as the Tony Stark we knew, but as Doom, reforged and elevated by cosmic manipulation. But here's the kicker. Doom's goals aren't as simple as domination. I think Marvel is about to give us a version of Doom that feels terrifying precisely because his mission makes sense. He's taken Franklin to Universe X, an unstable realm outside normal continuity. And Doom's plan? Collapse the multiverse and rebuild it in his image. That sounds villainous on the surface, but when you consider his reasoning, it becomes chillingly logical. Doom isn't native to Earth 616 at all. He's from Earth 828, the same universe where the Fantastic Four originate. This means his connection to Reed isn't just rivalry, it's destiny. He's seen firsthand how incursions operate like infections, destroying timelines the way a virus consumes a host. In his eyes, the multiverse isn't thriving, it's decaying. And if someone doesn't intervene, everything will burn. That's why Doom believes the only answer is unity through destruction. He doesn't see himself as a tyrant. He sees himself as a god performing mercy. If you can collapse trillions of possibilities into one, you eliminate the chaos of incursions. Doom thinks he's the savior who will carry existence into its next form. And in this twisted version of salvation, he doesn't simply kill those who oppose him. He elevates those who join him. He renames them barons, grants them dominion over fragments of broken worlds, and promises them survival in his battle world. A stitched-together reality born from the ashes of multiversal collapse. In Doom's mind, this isn't conquest. It's preservation. And honestly, that's scarier than any generic villain plot because the line between savior and destroyer is razor thin. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Reed Richards begins explaining the true danger to Earth's heroes. Imagine that moment. Marvel's most brilliant mind admitting that even he doesn't know the full extent of his son's powers, and that Doom already holds the key. It's one of those cinematic beats that would shake the foundation of the MCU because it's not about an alien invasion or an Infinity Stone anymore. It's about a child, stolen and manipulated, whose powers could rewrite everything we know. That's when Bucky, always the quiet observer, makes his own move. While others argue over strategy, he slips away to find the one person he trusts implicitly, Sam Wilson. And in that subtle moment, Marvel plants the seeds of the new Avengers leadership, grounded, loyal, and driven by trust, not just power. Far away, something equally alarming unfolds. Shuri, now leading Wakanda's scientific frontier, notices anomalies in the vibranium soil itself. Small fissures, energy rifts, fragments of space-time folding unnaturally. At first they look like quantum distortions, but soon she realizes these are signs of incursions, universes bleeding into each other. Marvel already teased this through the holographic displays in Shang-Chi, where strange energy signatures hinted at deeper cosmic connections. Now, Shuri expands on that tech, projecting a horrifying vision, glowing spheres of Earth colliding, their surfaces cracking, timelines overlapping until they consume one another. And this isn't theoretical anymore, it's happening. Universes are colliding like dominoes. So Shuri calls a meeting, not just with Wakandans, but with her most trusted allies across the globe. Sam Wilson, Bruce Banner, Wong, and Carol Danvers arrive, each carrying their own doubts and insights. It's one of those moments that feels like a callback to Endgame, not a massive battlefield yet, but the quiet gathering where hope collides with dread. Carol's concern grows sharper when Shuri mentions Monica Rambeau is still missing after the Marvels. What once seemed like a personal rescue mission now feels like part of something larger. Because if Monica disappeared in the multiverse, maybe she's not lost. Maybe she's trapped inside an incursion zone. And if that's true, then every missing hero could actually be a prisoner of the multiverse's collapse. That realization lands hard on everyone at the table. At this stage of the film, the puzzle pieces start forming their picture. Doom isn't sitting in the shadows waiting for Earth's heroes to come to him. He's already moving, already destabilizing worlds to accelerate collapse. Every anomaly, every disappearance, every fracture, it all points back to him. And yet, the most terrifying part is this. Doom doesn't even think he's the villain. He sees himself as the sole architect capable of saving existence. And if you look at it from his perspective, he's not entirely wrong. The multiverse is breaking. The incursions are real. And the Avengers are barely able to understand what's happening, let alone stop it. That imbalance of power, intellect versus desperation, logic versus morality, is what makes this setup for Avengers Doomsday not just compelling, but inevitable. What happens next is where the movie really sharpens its teeth. Doom doesn't simply lurk in some shadowy corner of the multiverse. He goes on the offensive, and his first move is a direct strike at a universe that fans have been waiting to see in live-action MCU continuity, the world of the X-Men. It begins suddenly, violently, with no warning. Cerebro's signals falter. Charles Xavier senses a disturbance so overwhelming it rattles his mind. Then the skies darken, and through the clouds descend Doom's redesigned Sentinels. But these aren't the clunky, sluggish machines we remember. They're streamlined, faster, and deadlier. Their frames reshaped with Latverian engineering and powered by Franklin Richards' manipulated energy. Imagine a fleet of mechanical hunters moving with near-organic precision. Every strike calculated, every defense impenetrable. Doom has essentially weaponized the Sentinels into an unstoppable extension of his will. They descend on Xavier's Institute like a storm, tearing apart defenses the X-Men believed impenetrable. This is Doom making a statement, not just to the Avengers, not just to Reed Richards, but to the audience. I can break your legends. But here's the chilling part. Doom doesn't want war with the X-Men. Not really. The battle is a distraction, a brutal display meant to force them into a corner. Because Doom's actual target isn't Xavier or even the mutants themselves, it's Cerebro, the psychic amplifier that can detect mutants across the planet. For Doom, this device isn't just a tool, it's the missing piece of his multiversal chessboard. He plans to rewire Cerebro's architecture so that instead of scanning one Earth, it can scan the entire multiverse. And what he's looking for isn't mutants, it's Loki. Doom knows Loki's connection to the TVA, to the temporal web, to the fragile time loom. If Franklin Richards is the raw power to reshape reality, then Loki is the key to stabilizing it. That's why Doom is here, crushing the X-Men beneath his Sentinels, not to destroy them, but to claim the one machine that will lead him to his final prize. And the cruelest twist? He gives the surviving X-Men a choice when the dust settles. Join him, or be erased with their dying universe. The X-Men fight with everything they have. Wolverine rips into Sentinels with feral rage. Storm summons a hurricane of lightning. Cyclops fires precision blasts that carve through steel. Yet Doom is relentless. He walks through their resistance like a god among mortals, dismantling their strongest fighters without even lifting his full power. There's something almost ritualistic about it, Doom proving to himself and the world that he is inevitable. Some X-Men fall in the battle, casualties that will sting fans deeply. Others retreat, broken, knowing they're facing something far beyond mutant politics or mutant rights. When the dust clears, Xavier himself lies shattered, his mind fractured from trying to stand against Doom's overwhelming will. And that's when Doom reveals the cruel mercy he's offering. Follow him into his new order or face oblivion when the incursions consume their world. Weak and grieving, many mutants see no option left but to submit. It's not a choice at all. It's survival dressed as surrender. And Marvel knows this moment would devastate audiences because it paints Doom not just as a conqueror, but as a savior who demands worship. While this chaos unfolds in the X-Men's universe, the heroes back on Earth are piecing together what's happening. Shuri's Council of Heroes is growing. Sam Wilson sits at her side. Bruce Banner's eyes glow with barely contained fury as he calculates the stakes, and Wong quietly warns of mystical tremors echoing from the multiversal rifts. Carol Danvers listens but can't shake her worry about Monica. Then Reed Richards steps forward, confirming what everyone dreads. The energy spikes detected from Wakanda's vibranium soil line up perfectly with the dimensional breaches reported near Xavier's world. Reed's voice cracks as he admits the truth. Franklin is in Doom's custody, and the incursions are accelerating because of it. This isn't just an unfolding disaster. It's deliberate. Doom isn't watching the multiverse fall apart. He's pulling the strings, orchestrating collapse as if composing a symphony. And each Earth that crumbles is one step closer to his Battleworld. That revelation drops like a hammer. Suddenly, Monica's disappearance isn't just a side plot. It's a warning. She may already be trapped in one of Doom's collapsing realities. And if the heroes don't act soon, she won't be the last. That's when America Chavez enters the conversation. She's still struggling to master her powers after Multiverse of Madness, still unsure if she can control the star-shaped portals she generates. But she feels Monica's energy signature echoing through the dimensional rifts. It's faint, unstable, but real. America believes she can open a pathway to the universe where Monica is trapped. Shuri warns her, though, this isn't a simple rescue mission. The universe Monica is in is already an incursion zone, a doomed timeline collapsing in on itself. If the heroes step through, they can't guarantee they'll make it back. And once you're inside an incursion, every second is a countdown. The room falls silent. No one wants to admit it, but the stakes just skyrocketed. They're not just risking a mission. They're risking themselves against the ticking clock of annihilation. Of course, the Avengers aren't ones to back down. Sam Wilson, stepping into his role as Captain America, insists they go. If Monica's alive, we don't leave her behind. His words cut through the hesitation, and suddenly the room shifts. Thor arrives, fiery-eyed and determined, carrying the weight of Asgard's destruction on his shoulders. If the multiverse is falling, then we face it head-on. Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four agree to join, knowing Franklin is tied to all of this. Banner transforms into Smart Hulk, his intellect and rage align for the first time in years. Wong readies his sling ring, vowing to keep the mystic balance stable. And Shuri, though nervous, understands that leadership sometimes means sending people into the storm. With America Chavez opening the portal, the heroes step forward, preparing to face whatever lies on the other side. And what they find isn't a rescue. It's a war zone. The X-Men aren't waiting with open arms. They're armed, angry, and convinced the Avengers are here to destroy their universe. From their perspective, the incursions began after the Avengers meddling with time and multiverse travel. To them, Earth 616's heroes are the virus. So when the Avengers arrive, the mutants launch into combat, believing they're protecting their last refuge. What follows is one of the most brutal and emotional battles in the MCU's history. Wolverine clashes with Thor in a primal display of steel versus godly might. Cyclops exchanges energy blasts with Captain Marvel, each trying to outburn the other. Storm faces Shuri, her weather manipulation tearing through Wakanda's tech. It's chaos, and yet it feels inevitable. Both sides are convinced they're right, and neither realizes they're playing directly into Doom's hands. Because this is Doom's true genius. He doesn't just fight his enemies, he turns them against one another. While the Avengers and X-Men tear each other apart, Doom moves unopposed toward his next step. With Cerebro already in his possession, he sets his sights on the ruins of Earth 838, the universe where Wanda Maximoff was last seen. Everyone assumes she died beneath the rubble of Mount Wundagore at the end of Multiverse of Madness. But Doom knows better. He finds her broken body, lifeless but not gone, her chaos magic still lingering like embers in the ashes. And here's where Franklin Richards' powers become terrifying. Doom uses them to revive Wanda. Not fully, not perfectly, but enough to bring her back breathing. She wakes fractured, her memories scrambled, unable to recall her children Westview or her battle with Strange. To Wanda, the world is blank, and Doom steps in as her god. This is where the movie takes a darker, more psychological turn. Doom doesn't chain Wanda or treat her as a captive. He treats her like a lost child in need of direction. He whispers lies wrapped in truth. That the Avengers abandoned her. That the multiverse is broken. That she was betrayed by those she once called allies. And with Franklin's energy fueling her recovery, Wanda's powers begin to surge again. But this time they're tethered not to grief or loss, but to Doom's manipulations. He molds her into something new, a weapon reforged in Latveria's shadow. And suddenly, Doom doesn't just have Franklin Richards, the multiversal prodigy. He has Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch reborn, her chaos magic fused with Doom's vision of godhood. Together, they form a force so catastrophic that even the combined Avengers and X-Men may not withstand it. The heroes, meanwhile, finally realize their mistake. As bodies lie broken in the clash between Avengers and X-Men, Reed Richards sees the truth. This battle was orchestrated. Doom set them against each other to keep them distracted while he advanced his real agenda. Reed's face hardens as the pieces click. Doom doesn't just want to collapse universes. He wants to build Battleworld, a stitched reality where he sits as ruler, Franklin as his key, and Wanda as his enforcer. And the next piece of the puzzle, Loki. Because if Doom can seize the TVA's knowledge, he won't just collapse the multiverse. He'll control it forever. That's when the gravity of the situation finally hits the heroes. They're not fighting a war. They're trapped in Doom's chessboard. And he's already 3 moves ahead. The aftermath of the Avengers X-Men war is sobering. Bodies lie scattered across the battlefield, some unconscious, some worse. Neither side feels like victors. Everyone knows they've been manipulated. The tension breaks when Reed Richards, his suit torn and face streaked with blood, shouts above the chaos that this was Doom's plan all along. His words pierce the haze of rage. Slowly the realization spreads. Doom orchestrated this conflict to keep them distracted, to ensure no one noticed his true agenda unfolding elsewhere. Sam Wilson lowers his shield. Cyclops extinguishes his optic blast, and Storm, her hair matted with rain, allows the thunderclouds above to dissipate. For the first time since their arrival, silence hangs heavy between the two teams. Then, Reed delivers the chilling truth. Doom already has Franklin, Doom has already revived Wanda, and Doom is heading for Loki. The words hit like a gut punch. If Loki falls, the multiverse doesn't just collapse, it crystallizes into Doom's dominion. In that moment, grudges are abandoned. Both teams realize they have no choice but to stand together. It's not a question of friendship or alliance. It's survival. The unification of the Avengers and X-Men is one of those MCU-defining moments. A clash of legacies finally folding into one shared mission. Sam Wilson steps forward, extending his hand to Cyclops. The gesture is hesitant, awkward, but Cyclops takes it. Behind them, Wolverine growls his disdain but sheathes his claws, while Thor claps Logan on the shoulder with Asgardian bluntness. "Then you'll fight beside gods today, bub!" Even hardened fans would feel chills watching these characters, long separated by licensing, finally standing shoulder to shoulder on screen. Shuri and Beast compare notes on incursion science. Banner and Storm analyze the energy fallout, and Carol Danvers, battered but unbroken, sits with Rogue in a moment of uneasy truce. For once, the focus isn't on rivalries or territory. It's on the greater horror looming ahead. Doom has turned them into pawns, and now they must decide whether they'll play his game or flip the board entirely. While the cosmic-level heroes march toward that confrontation, the film smartly cuts back to Earth, reminding us that when gods wage war, mortals still bear the brunt. New York trembles with strange distortions as civilians panic. That's when Peter Parker makes his stand. Spider-Man, still carrying the weight of his erased identity, realizes he can't jump through portals and fight multiversal tyrants, not this time. But he can protect the people who don't have vibranium shields or chaos magic at their side. In a heartfelt scene, Peter Peter promises to defend the streets, even if it means standing against monsters he barely understands. Daredevil joins him, moving like a shadow, his senses heightened by the tremors tearing through Hell's Kitchen. Together, they form a line of defense for ordinary citizens, showing that even as the cosmic battle rages, the heart of the MCU remains with the street-level heroes who fight not for kingdoms or timelines, but for neighborhoods and lives. It's a quiet, grounding counterpoint to the chaos above. But Doom is anything but quiet. With Wanda now twisted into his loyal instrument and Franklin fueling his every move, he sets his sights on the Citadel at the end of time. His journey there is apocalyptic in scale. Along the way, Doom unleashes multiversal monstrosities, abominations that look like corrupted versions of heroes we know. Imagine twisted echoes of Captain America with broken shields, Iron Men whose armor has fused with alien tech, or spider variants whose limbs stretch like nightmares. These aren't random creatures. They're Doom's psychological weapons, meant to terrify the Avengers and X-Men by confronting them with distorted shadows of their own legacies. It's one of Marvel's darkest sequences yet, as the heroes are forced to cut down reflections of themselves to keep moving forward. Each kill chips away at their morale, but they press on because they know the real battle waits at the Citadel, where Loki is holding the fragile threads of existence together. Loki, meanwhile, is barely holding on. Ever since the TVA fractured, he has been tethered to the collapsing time loom, straining every ounce of his power to keep the timelines from unraveling completely. His skin is pale, his magic flickers, and his once cunning voice now trembles under the weight of infinite strain. When Doom approaches, Loki recognizes the danger instantly. He mocks Doom with his usual wit, so the man in the iron mask finally thinks himself a god. But beneath the bravado, there's fear. Doom doesn't flinch. He doesn't banter. He simply tells Loki that his burden is over, that the multiverse doesn't need a trickster patching holes in a sinking ship. What it needs is order, and Doom will provide it. Loki readies himself for battle, but even he knows this isn't one he can win alone. His hope, fragile as it is, rests on the Avengers reaching him in time. Back in Wakanda, Shuri organizes what may be the most ambitious gathering of heroes since Endgame. She calls it the Council of Heroes, a last-ditch assembly where cosmic, mystical, and earthly champions unite under one roof. Thor, battered but defiant, pledges Asgard's honor to the fight. Reed Richards speaks of his family's stakes, of Franklin's innocence being twisted into a weapon. Wong offers mystical shields to stabilize collapsing pathways, while Banner sketches equations so complex even Reed pauses to follow. Sam Wilson delivers the rallying cry, reminding everyone that this isn't about glory or vengeance. It's about making sure the multiverse doesn't fall into the hands of one man who would crown himself God. And though tensions remain, Cyclops glaring at Carol, Logan eyeing Banner like prey, the heroes set aside their grudges. They agree to march together into the storm. And yet the movie makes sure we understand the weight of their decision. Shuri warns them, once America Chavez opens the final pathway to the end of time, there's no retreat. This is a one-way trip into the heart of annihilation. Either they stop Doom, or they vanish with everything else when the multiverse collapses. The stakes are existential, the tension suffocating. America's hands shake as she readies herself, stars flickering at her fingertips. But Sam Wilson places a steadying hand on her shoulder, reminding her that they're not walking into this alone. Every hero in the room nods, silently affirming the same truth. Whatever happens next, they face it together. With that, America tears open the portal, and a blinding star-shaped gateway to the end of time yawns before them. One by one, the heroes step through, vanishing into the unknown. What greets them on the other side is chaos incarnate. The end of time is no longer the quiet, eerie expanse we glimpsed in Loki. It's a battlefield of broken realities, stitched together like glass shards, each piece of terrain a fragment of a destroyed universe. The sky is fractured, timelines bleeding like open wounds, and at the center of it all stands the Citadel, looming like a cathedral of inevitability. Doom is already there, his cape billowing in the temporal winds, Wanda at his side with eyes glowing crimson, and Franklin hovering above them like a radiant, unwilling conduit of power. The sheer sight of them is enough to make even Thor falter for a second. This isn't just a villain. This is a god ascending, and he dares them to challenge him. The stage is set for one of the most titanic battles in MCU history, and everyone knows the cost. As the first blows are exchanged, the reality of the fight sets in. Thor charges, lightning erupting from Mjolnir, but Wanda meets him with a surge of chaos magic, shattering his strike mid-air. Hulk barrels forward, only to be swatted aside by Franklin's raw energy, his body skidding across fractured timelines like a rag doll. Cyclops and Captain Marvel combine their beams against Doom, but he raises a single hand, his armor absorbing the energy before blasting it back at them with amplified force. It's a massacre in the opening moments. Doom doesn't just overpower them. He humiliates them, proving the gap between mortal will and godlike dominion. And yet the heroes rise again. They're beaten, bloodied, but not broken. Because deep down, they know the multiverse has faced impossible odds before, and won. The act closes with a devastating twist. Just as the Avengers and X-Men begin to rally, Doom unleashes his trump card. He turns to Loki, bound and weakened, and with Franklin's power coursing through him, Doom seizes the Citadel itself. Time bends, shatters, and reforms at his command. The TVA's sacred threads of reality snap like brittle twine, leaving only what Doom allows to exist. The heroes stare in horror. As they realize the truth, Doom doesn't just want to reshape the multiverse. He's already begun. Battleworld is forming, a stitched reality of broken Earths fused together into a grotesque patchwork kingdom. And standing at its center, Doom declares himself not ruler, not tyrant, but savior. The Avengers and X-Men are too late. The world they knew is gone. The instant Battleworld takes shape, the heroes feel it. One moment, they're fighting in the fractured void of the end of time, and the next, the ground beneath them solidifies into landscapes both familiar and alien. Doom has done it. He's stitched together remnants of countless collapsed universes into a grotesque new kingdom, and each shard of this patchwork world feels wrong, distorted, like echoes of realities that should never coexist. The Avengers and X-Men, once unified, are suddenly scattered across these fragments. It's not by accident. Doom has cast them apart intentionally, ensuring they can't regroup and strike at him all at once. And here's the terrifying part. Each hero awakens in a region that tests them personally, a cruel reflection of their deepest fears or failures. Doom hasn't just built a world. He's designed a crucible, a labyrinth of suffering, where his enemies are broken down piece by piece. Thor awakens in a wasteland resembling a shattered Asgard, the ruins of his home stretched across an endless desert. But this isn't the Asgard he remembers. It's a fusion of every destroyed Asgard across the multiverse, echoing with voices of lost warriors who accuse him of failing them. Logan, meanwhile, claws his way out of a pit littered with adamantium skeletons, twisted remains of alternate Wolverines who fought and died in vain. Imagine the weight of that imagery. Wolverine forced to confront an endless chain of his own deaths. Over in another fragment, Shuri finds herself in a Wakanda drowned beneath endless oceans, the vibranium mines glowing faintly beneath the waves. She barely survives, carried by her intellect and sheer will, but the despair is palpable. Each fragment isn't just a battlefield. It's psychological warfare on a cosmic scale. Doom wants his enemies demoralized, doubting themselves before they even reach him again. Back in the Citadel, Doom stands tall, surveying the kingdom he's crafted. Franklin floats beside him, glowing like a star imprisoned in human form, his young face blank and lifeless under Doom's control. Wanda, fractured and obedient, remains at his side, her chaos magic forming protective veils around their throne. And in Doom's mind, this is justice. This is mercy. He doesn't rant like Thanos, nor does he gloat like Ultron. He simply speaks with quiet conviction. The multiverse is dying. I've given it one form, one truth. A god does not conquer. A god preserves. And disturbingly, there are those who agree with him. Across the fragments of Battleworld, survivors of collapsed universes kneel before Doom, not out of fear, but because he offers stability in a sea of destruction. He appoints his loyalists as barons, placing them as rulers over individual domains, each given power in exchange for devotion. What was once chaos now bends under Doom's singular order. And this is where the movie reveals its true brilliance. Doom isn't wrong about the multiverse collapsing. He's just wrong about what salvation means. The heroes, meanwhile, struggle to regroup. Sam Wilson finds himself stranded in a fragment resembling war-torn New York, where decayed skyscrapers pierce the sky like broken bones. Civilians from alternate realities wander the streets, terrified, clinging to the hope of survival. Sam doesn't hesitate. He steps up as Captain America, not with flashy powers, but with words, with leadership. He rallies the frightened, promising them safety, even when he knows safety doesn't exist here. Spider-Man emerges from the shadows to join him, battered but alive, still clinging to the promise he made to protect the innocent. Their reunion is one of quiet relief, a reminder that even in a stitched apocalypse, the smallest acts of hope matter. Together, they begin searching for allies, slowly piecing together the fractured remnants of their team. But the brutality of Battleworld keeps pressing down. Carol Danvers awakens in a cosmic fragment where suns hang shattered in the sky, burning endlessly without orbit. Her power, usually infinite, falters against this unstable environment. She meets Rogue there, the mutant who once absorbed her abilities in another reality. Their reunion is tense, filled with unspoken history, but necessity forces them into alliance. Banner, meanwhile, crawls out of rubble into a fragment that seems almost mocking. A world where hulks of every kind roam feral, mindless, and raging. To survive, Banner must embrace the very monster he's tried so long to control. The story fractures here, not to lose focus, but to emphasize that Doom has already won the first battle. The heroes aren't strategizing, they're just surviving. And then comes the cruelest twist. Doom doesn't leave them wandering. He sends emissaries, twisted variants of familiar faces. Imagine a barren Iron Man, a version of Tony Stark from a collapsed universe, twisted into Doom's loyal general, or a Scarlet Witch variant broken differently, serving as Wanda's dark mirror. Doom doesn't fight them directly yet. He lets these barons enforce his order, testing the heroes' resolve while reminding them how small they are compared to his new kingdom. Each confrontation is both physical and emotional, because the Avengers aren't just battling enemies. They're battling echoes of what they might have become had they surrendered to despair. It's storytelling that digs under the skin, pushing the characters to their breaking points. Despite the crushing weight of Doom's order, sparks of resistance remain. Reed Richards becomes the anchor of strategy, his mind working overtime to decipher the patchwork physics of Battleworld. He realizes something critical. Franklin isn't fully lost. Beneath Doom's control, his son's energy pulses irregularly, almost like a signal. If they can reach him even for a moment, they might break Doom's hold. This revelation ignites the first flicker of hope. Shuri supports him, offering Wakandan tech salvaged from her fragment. Wong, still alive, stitches together mystical pathways that allow small groups of heroes to reunite. Slowly, the fractured survivors begin converging again. It's not everyone. Losses are mounting, but enough to form a resistance. For the first time since Battleworld formed, Doom faces the one thing he didn't anticipate: unity in despair. Meanwhile, Loki still lingers at the Citadel, bound but alive. Doom hasn't killed him. Instead, he uses him as a living key, forcing him to stabilize the seams of Battleworld while Franklin fuels its expansion. But Loki, ever the trickster, hasn't surrendered entirely. Even in chains, his mind schemes. He senses the resistance building, the sparks of rebellion echoing across the fragments. And he knows one truth Doom has overlooked: gods don't rule forever. They fall. The question is whether the Avengers can last long enough to exploit Doom's overconfidence. Loki smirks faintly through his exhaustion, whispering to himself, "They'll come. They always come." As Act 4 nears its climax, the resistance finally strikes back. America. Chavez manages to tear open a small star-shaped portal between two fragments, allowing Sam Wilson's group to reunite with Thor and Reed. The moment is raw, desperate, but filled with renewed energy. For the first time, they stand together on Battleworld soil, ready to challenge Doom's dominion. And they know where they must go: the Citadel. Because Franklin isn't just a hostage. He's the only chance to undo Doom's reshaping of reality. Their mission is clear: reach Franklin, break Doom's hold, and shatter Battleworld before it becomes permanent. But the risks, unimaginable. Wanda stands in their way, corrupted and lethal, her chaos magic now amplified by Doom's order. The Barons stalk the lands, hungry for blood. And Doom himself waits at the Citadel's throne, convinced of his godhood. The resistance steels itself for the impossible. And then comes the devastating gut punch to close the act. As the heroes begin their march, Doom makes his power undeniable. He conjures a vision across the skies of every fragment, his voice echoing like thunder. "This is your world now. This is your last world. Bow to me, and I will preserve you. Resist, and you will fade into nothing." Civilians, terrified and desperate, fall to their knees across Battleworld. Even some heroes falter, wondering if surrender means survival. Doom smiles faintly as he watches. For him, this isn't conquest. It's coronation. And unless the Avengers and X-Men can shatter his illusion of divinity, the multiverse itself may never see freedom again. The march toward the Citadel begins not with triumph, but with silence. Every hero knows what lies ahead may be their final stand. The fractured landscapes of Battleworld loom behind them, stretching like a museum of shattered dreams, while the monolithic Citadel rises at the center, black spires clawing toward the skies, pulsing with Franklin's imprisoned light. This isn't just a fortress. It's a statement: Doom is untouchable. Sam Wilson takes the first step, shield in hand, and the others follow. No speeches, no fanfare, just resolve. For the audience, this is the heartbeat moment. The same tension as the slow walk to Thanos on Titan, but layered with multiversal stakes. Every character carries scars from their fragment, and now those scars fuel their resolve. They aren't just fighting Doom. They're fighting the idea that one man, no matter how brilliant or broken, has the right to decide the fate of infinite lives. The resistance splits into squads. Reed Richards, America Chavez, and Shuri focus on breaking Franklin free from Doom's control. They know without Franklin, Battleworld collapses, but they also know Franklin's power could kill them if Doom senses their attempt. Thor, battered but unyielding, leads a direct assault on the Citadel gates with Wolverine, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man. Banner remains in the rear, unleashing the Hulk in raw fury against Doom's barons. And then there's Wanda. She waits at the base of the Citadel like a sentinel, her chaos magic twisting reality into rivers of fire and storms of glass. Doom positioned her there deliberately, not just as a weapon, but as a test. If the Avengers can't pass her, they'll never reach him. The battle ignites, and it's unlike anything the MCU has staged before. The scale of Endgame, but drenched in tragedy and spectacle. Wanda's confrontation is the most emotional beat. She isn't snarling or shouting. She fights with cold detachment, her memory fractured, convinced by Doom that the Avengers abandoned her. Carol Danvers steps forward first, trying to reach her, but Wanda's power nearly tears her apart in seconds. Shuri attempts logic, recounting the lives Wanda touched, but her words fall on deaf ears. It's only Spider-Man who breaks through, bruised and bleeding, whispering about Westview, about the twins, about the love she once fought for. For a flicker, her eyes soften. But Doom's control slams down like iron. The duel escalates. Wanda versus nearly all of them, until Reed takes the most dangerous gamble. He uses his link to Franklin to project fragments of memory into Wanda's mind. Her children's laughter, Vision's sacrifice, the life she lost. It's enough to crack her obedience, and she collapses, torn between fury and grief. She doesn't rejoin the team immediately, but the seeds of doubt against Doom are finally planted. Inside the Citadel, Doom watches the Resistance with an unsettling calm. He doesn't panic. He doesn't even move from his throne. To him, this is inevitable. Mortals clawing against divinity. Loki, chained beside him, chuckles weakly. "You've made one mistake, Victor. You underestimated hope." Doom silences him with a gesture, but the words linger. Reed's squad finally reaches Franklin, who floats within a containment sphere of pure energy. His eyes glow, but beneath them is a child desperate to be free. Shuri hacks at the bindings with vibranium-forged tech, while America Chavez strains to hold open portals that Doom's magic keeps slamming shut. Every second feels like an eternity. Reed calls to his son, begging him to remember his family, their home, their world. For a moment, Franklin's gaze clears and the sphere cracks. Doom's head finally turns. His voice drops low, dangerous. "Do not touch my power." The clash reaches its peak. Thor storms into the throne chamber, lightning raging, his hammer and Stormbreaker slamming against Doom's shields. Wolverine tears into the Barrens, leaving trails of adamantium fury. Carol goes Nova, burning through Doom's defenses. But here's where the brutal twist lands. Doom doesn't just hold his ground. He breaks them. One by one, he dismantles the strongest heroes. Thor hurls Stormbreaker with all his might, and Doom catches it mid-air, crushing it with Franklin's borrowed strength. Wolverine charges, claws flashing, and Doom incinerates him with a gesture, leaving Logan barely alive. Carol is thrown across the chamber, bleeding, broken. The devastation is relentless, and it crescendos with Doom raising his hand toward Thor, declaring, "A god is nothing before the god." And then, he does the unthinkable. Doom kills Thor, not with spectacle, but with surgical finality, snuffing out the god of thunder in front of his allies. The chamber falls silent. The audience would feel it like a gut punch, a loss that reshapes the battle instantly. But Thor's death isn't the end. It's the spark. Loki, straining against his chains, feels the collapse of his brother's life and unleashes every ounce of mischief, every trick he's buried. He channels Thor's last lightning, redirecting it into Franklin's containment sphere. The bonds shatter, and Franklin collapses into Reed's arms, finally free. The room shakes violently. Without Franklin fueling it, Battleworld begins to destabilize. Doom roars, his control slipping for the first time. Wanda rises at that exact moment, her fractured mind finally whole, her grief igniting into raw fury, not against the Avengers, but against Doom. The duel that follows is not Avenger versus villain. It's Doom versus Wanda, chaos magic against godhood, reality bending against reality bending. And for the first time, Doom is forced onto the defensive. Still, Doom is not undone so easily. Even without Franklin, he wields the stolen power of the Time Loom and the Citadel itself. He twists timelines mid-battle, resurrecting shattered variants of fallen heroes to fight on his behalf. Imagine corrupted Captain America variants clashing against Sam, or twisted X-Men rising against Logan. It's nightmarish, exhausting, and seemingly endless. The Resistance falters, crushed under the weight of multiversal echoes. But then Franklin, weak but conscious, realizes the truth. Battleworld is collapsing, but he can redirect it. He can funnel its energy into one final act, the restoration of the multiverse. Reed hesitates, fearing it will kill his son. But Franklin simply says, "Dad, it's what I was born to do." With Wanda shielding him, Franklin channels his cosmic essence outward, rewriting reality piece by piece, undoing Doom's patchwork kingdom. The climax peaks as Doom lunges for Franklin, his fury unmasked, his mask literally shattering to reveal the scarred man beneath. Reed confronts him directly. No powers, no tricks, just raw defiance. "You're not a god, Victor. You're a man who can't accept that he lost." It's personal, intimate, and final. Doom, enraged, unleashes everything, only for Wanda to counter him, blasting him with chaos magic amplified by Franklin's cosmic light. The resulting explosion rips through the Citadel, tearing Doom's dominion apart. The screen would go white with light, sound fading to nothing. When the dust clears, the heroes awaken, scattered once more, but this time in a restored multiverse. The incursions have stopped. Universes breathe again. Franklin is gone, his essence dispersed into the fabric of creation, but Reed feels him everywhere. A bittersweet comfort. Wanda too vanishes in the aftermath, her fate deliberately ambiguous, redeemed but untraceable. The survivors regroup slowly. Sam holds his shield tighter. Spider-Man helps civilians from the rubble, and Shuri mourns quietly in the background. Thor's absence is felt most deeply, his sacrifice echoing like Tony Stark's once did. For the Avengers, this is not a victory parade. It's survival. It's the cost of defying a god. And Doom? He doesn't die. That's the chilling part. His body is lost in the collapse of the Citadel, but no one finds a corpse. Reed warns the others, if there's one thing Victor Von Doom knows how to do, it's endure. The seed for secret wars remains intact. Somewhere, in some forgotten corner of the multiverse, Doom still breathes, plotting his return. The audience leaves with that haunting possibility, knowing his story isn't over. The final montage mirrors Endgame, but with sharper edges. Heroes return to their worlds. Sam and Bucky quietly regroup in New York, their bond stronger than ever. Spider-Man, bruised but resilient, swings through the city, protecting the people no one else thinks about. Carol looks to the stars again, burdened but unbroken. Reed and the Fantastic Four retreat to rebuild, mourning Franklin but determined to honor his sacrifice. And Banner, scarred from the Hulk fragment, begins searching for new answers, hinting at unresolved arcs. Each hero carries the trauma of Battleworld, but also the hope that they stop Doom, at least for now. And as the credits begin to roll, the camera lingers one last time on the void where the Citadel once stood. A faint glow flickers, a whisper echoes. This world was only the beginning. It's Doom's voice, faint but unmistakable, teasing his inevitable return. And that's it. I've broken down what I believe could be the full story of Avengers Doomsday. From the arrival of the Fantastic Four, to the rise of Battleworld, to Doom's coronation, and the devastating sacrifice that saves the multiverse. This theory ties together leaks, fan speculation, and Marvel's own breadcrumbs into a single, massive arc that sets the stage for Secret Wars. If you've stayed with me till the end, you already know. This story is going to be bigger, darker, and more emotional than anything the MCU has done before. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown here on MovieCast, hosted by me, Liam Harrison. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow Marvel fans, and subscribe so you don't miss the next theory. A huge shout out to everyone who supported with a super thanks, especially the $20 contributions that make it possible for me to spend weeks building these massive scripts. You guys are the real MVPs. Until next time, keep your eyes open, because the multiverse is only getting started.